So first, I want to show you all like what's new in Canva. And I always want to show this is because it can hide a little bit in Canva. And so I am going to, let's go back, and I am going to show you how you can get here. So I'm going to move this screen over, and let me make this a little bit bigger. And then I think I'm going to have to share my whole entire screen. There we go. So what I want to show you is what's new in Canva. Say share my screen anyways. Okay, so I'm going to show you where you can actually find this. So if you go to your settings, and so you'll see either your school district's logo there, or you will see your initials. So Canva has this tab called What's New, and I am already there. And so what's new does, it'll show you all the cool things that are coming in Canva. And so as I mentioned, I still kind of say Google Sheets, but we're going to look at reimagining data in Canva Sheets. I'm going to show you all that. Also, it talks about our new Visual Suite 2.0, where you can add multiple design doc types in one design. So you can have a presentation, you can have a Canva spreadsheet, you can also have a social media graphic. Heard a lot of feedback from districts, like this is a great space if you are rolling out like professional development. You can all keep it in one design instead of hyperlinking. We also have Bring AI to Life. So I know North Carolina is very forward in AI. And so if you are looking for some additional AI materials, you can also find that. And then what's most exciting for me, maybe not for everybody, but the Marvel collection is now in Canva. And so we've had a Disney collection before, but going into the new year, you probably will have some students super excited about using the different Marvel characters to communicate what they have learned or just communicate their personality. So I feel like there's a lot. One other place I want to show you. So this is all what's new. It's probably always going to be more than what you need, but it's always a great place to start wanting to know what's new in Canva. And as I tell districts, this is a snapshot, and then we have something called Droptober, and so we'll drop even more features in October. So if you want to stay up of what's happening in Canva, that's the what's new tab. So there's the what's new tab, and then we also have a help and resources tab. So you can, if you have any questions about how to do things in Canva, you can ask Canva, from AI to, hey, I'm pretty sure everybody on this call knows how to use background remover, but anything as simple as background remover, you can ask Canva, and that's also AI powered. And so it'll give you step by step. The other big thing I wanted to show you all really quick is what we call our design school. And so with design school, there is tons of different resources for teachers to use in the classroom. So these top 3 just launched probably like 3 days ago or late last week. So a student activity about a Create Me poster, designing personal learning pledges you can do in Canva. So all these cool features or kind of design or activities you can do with students starting off the school year. So there's tons of like teaching and learning. And then I always like to share this one with my North Carolina educators. So if you are wanting to know more about AI in Canva and actually how to use it in the classroom, this is a certification that you can take. It's about 60 minutes. more or less, well, it says 73 minutes. It went up a little bit. So 73 minutes, and then you get a certification at the end. So if your district does give professional development credits, that is an option for you in the AI space. All right, so let's hop into, oh, one other thing. I will drop this link in the chat. So the back to school, I also have a QR code there if you can scan that. The back to school webinar is happening August 6th. That is led by the trainers that be, they are the official trainers of Canva. And August 6th, we actually offer about 4 different sessions for it. So we do have like some early morning options, some later in the evening options. Even if you can't attend the session, but you register, we will send you a recording of the deck and helpful resources for back to school. So definitely want to make sure you all knew that. All right, so let's get into Canvas Sheets. Like I said, this is more of definitely a quick demo of Canvas Sheets. So in that what's new, and I'm going to stop sharing here so it won't jump me. So in the what's new tab, we talked a lot. It showed like all the different new features in Canva. Canvas Sheets is our latest and greatest doc type in Canva. And so when I say doc type, I mean like Canva docs, Canva presentations, social media graphics. Those are different doc types in Canva. And so one of the things that I am fangirling over is Canva Sheets, is because you can now organize information all in one space. I am helping organize a conference. So we have a Canva doc in there with like long form content that we need, or we keep our agenda in a Canva doc. And then we also come over to a spreadsheet, somewhat like this, that will help us organize and see which projects that we have done. So this one is not necessary. This one is AI powered. And so what's cool about Canva Sheets, let me, okay, so in Canvas Sheets now, you have a long list of actions. Most of these are AI powered, and then there's also some generative options as well. So you can fill in empty cells. So like if you have some empty cells, you could tell the AI to put in zeros. But then what's also great about this actions tab, you can drop like different dates in here. So if I want to say I want to add today's date, you can also tag students. I always think about Canvas Sheets and these different doc types, not only in the classroom, but also extracurricular activities. So if you are running a club, or if you're helping, or if you have some teachers that are doing like student government, any of those things, they can help use these things to keep students organized. And so you can tag people in a spreadsheet, like if they are, I'm gonna delete this, if they are in charge of a particular, oh, I know, I gotta share this, but you can tag somebody in the team that is owning a specific part of a project. What I love about steps 3 and step 4, or line 3 and 4, I get a lot of like feedback from teachers of like, hey, we necessarily don't want students having to go search for maybe graphics or designs, depending on which age group level they are. High school, they probably can knock it out quick. Maybe if you have some 3rd or 4th graders, you kind of want to give them some specific graphics that they can use, where you could potentially, there's a couple ways to do it, but one way to do it is using a Canvas sheet. And so if you go over here to elements, and we'll just say we are doing something in the forest, and I'm asking them to kind of paste stuff in a forest or that type of thing, I could create a list. That's not dropping in there. Wait, hold on. Make sure I got this highlighted. There we go. So I could give students a list of graphics that I want them to use. And then you can also add animated graphics as well. If there's some specific graphics you want students to use in an assignment to speed up time. So that one's in there. And so that's a cool way to use Canvas Sheets, in my opinion. Definitely giving students maybe a limited amount of graphics to speed the time, because I think students can personally get lost in maybe the graphics and some of the elements, which it makes it fun. But also if you want if you have a rubric of what you want students to do, you can give them. Another one of my favorite things about Canvas Sheets, I always look at these assignments. They're not replacing what students should learn about data and analyzing data, but it can be an exploration for students. So I look at this, this example as maybe you're looking in a math class, students are looking at which graph makes the most sense, or what different graphs. So from a linear graph to a bar graph, you can have students do exploration. So this is definitely one of our AI power features. And you can also use this too, excuse me, if you have to communicate a lot of data to a group of people. So you can highlight your data set, and then you can go over here to magic actions, and then you can go over here to magic charts. So magic charts will create a chart for you. If you have a large set of data, so you have hundreds and hundreds of rows, and you want to kind of get some insights really quickly, you can also use magic insights as well. But I'll choose a magic charts. And so you see here at Magic Charts, it gives a different representation of different charts. So again, I think this is a great opportunity for students in a math or science class to explore kind of what different charts look like and what makes sense for them. And so here we're gonna, because our graphic is a bicycle, and so we are gonna go with the pie chart, and then a teacher or student can just drop that pie chart in. And then also, I think even if you kind of talk about ratios or fractions, that different type of thing, and kind of help students visualize like what 20% would closely look like versus maybe close to 10 or 11%. So I think there's kind of a lot of room playing with data and playing with AI and magic charts. And then here's another example of, say for instance, you are working with a group of students, or a teacher is working with a group of students on an extracurricular activity. And so again, as a former math teacher, students should always learn the behind the scenes of calculating, but this is a great option for when students are doing extracurricular activities, enhancing their school experience. Maybe they just want to grab like the total here in the 7.5%, because we don't want to catch them up on that percentage. So what a student could do, they would copy, or they would say specifically what they're wanting. We're following the examples here. And so I'm going to take this out, and then I'm going to click magic formulas, and then let me move my screen down. And so it says describe what formula you want to do. And so I am going to type in total sum of items plus 7.5%. So again, it's important for students to, learn the math behind this. But if they are kind of in this extracurricular activity, or if they're doing an exploration to see, like, did they calculate the total plus the 7.5%, this is a great opportunity to use AI. Kind of like when, I don't know, do they still put answers in the back of the book for students? So kind of the same thing. Maybe you won't give them every problem, but they could definitely check their work here. And this, for some reason, shows up as white text. So let me actually change. I'm going to change them all. And then, so you see here, it did the total for us. So you can also do, you can have students do some exploration. Again, this also can be a space of teaching students prompt generation. And so maybe whatever the objective is, maybe it's not necessarily right now knowing, how to add and calculate 7.5%, but they could do, magic insights and ask which item, which item costs the most. And so this probably will take, let's see how fast. It took a little bit of time this morning, but I think in the same, just really thinking about what the objective. And so like you see, it gave some insight like, hey, again, this is not a big data set, so it is easy to just look and determine, but it'll say like, oh, the venue is 2000. I also think this is also an opportunity to have students test how accurate AI can be. So again, it's just different objectives depending on what the teacher is interested in and then what students are using it for. And I'm gonna hop to our next. So Boat Create. Boat Create is also one of my favorites. And I changed changed the whole presentation. So let's change that back to white. Awesome. Okay, so with Boat Create, so I know many of you are used to doing Boat Create in other platforms. Again, what I love about Boat Create in Canva is now you can choose those, you can find those great certification templates that we offer, and then you can just create your your certificates within Canva versus having to hop to a different place. So when doing Boat Create, so here I have a group of students. I want to create certificates for each one and make them personalized and recognize them for different things. And so I am going to highlight this. Typically, if you don't see Boat Create on your left-hand bar, you may not have used it yet. So you just want to go to Apps, search Boat Create. I have used Boat Create before, so it does live over here. And so I am going to hit Boat Create. I am going to, this is actually going to be C10. And then I am going to hit continue. And then I am going to choose my certificate. So this is a cool certificate I found within the Canva template library. I am going to grab it. And then I am going to match. Oops, no, not that one. I want to connect the data. And so this is going to be the student name. This is the reason for the title. And I typically do it from here. And then I want to, so I can go ahead and create 7 designs. And so what it'll do, and I'll show you in a second, there's 2 options. You can create 1 design per row for students, or you can, we're gonna do that. And then, yeah, so I could create 7 individual designs, or in each row, I can just paste, I can just have all the certificates in 1 design. So I am going to create, and we have a question. Can you share again where you found Boat Create? Yeah. So Boat Create, so if you do not see it in your left-hand bar, click find the apps icon. and then you'll just search bulk create. And it should pop up for you.
Rick, I noticed in the actions that when you were in the Google Sheet, that bulk create was up there as well. I thought that was pretty amazing.
Yep,
So,
great call out there.
haven't used that feature yet.
Yeah, so you can definitely do it from actions as well. Great call out there. I think sometimes you marry to the way you first did it, and so you do it. So yeah, yep, that is a great place to do it too. And then here, so I just created just one group of designs. You can do individual. I decided to do create everybody in one design, because if I remember correctly, if you wanted to print these, you just want to download this as a PDF, and then you want to send it to the printer. You don't want to have to click into every student's certificate and print it that way. So this would be the quickest way if you wanted to do bulk create. I'm not going to demo it here, but what you can also do too, you could create a separate certificate, and you can use Translate to translate this here. Like if you want to send a copy home for students that may, with parents that speak a different language other than English, you could also use Translate and use AI to help you translate it, and then create a certificate specifically for students to take home, so that parents can read it in the language, in their first language. So that's a great option as well. Well, I feel like I went over my time, but that's all I got,
I
guys.
think you shared some great information. So thank you so much for that. All right, I'm going to share again and hope that I share well. All right, so we did bulk create, and now we're going to quickly look at editing a PDF with Canva for education. So I can download a PDF, and I've clicked one here. If you want to try it out when you get a chance, you're more than welcome to. But I'm just going to go in and kind of show it to you myself. So I'm going to go home, and I'm going to go to, if it lets me, I'm going to go to upload, and I can upload my PDF into my files. So let's see. Hopefully this is the right one. Nope. Yes, it is. Okay, so I'm going to upload this file. And then I can open it up, and I can make changes to this. Now, this particular one, I downloaded from Go Open NC, so that means that it is an open educational resource. The copyright allows me to be able to make those edits for education. So if I want to get rid of this, I can just highlight that. I can get rid of it. I can move items where I want them. That one messed up my thing, but it's okay. You get the idea. I can also, like in here it says fall 2009. Well, I don't want my students to see, this is still a good relevant PDF, but I want the year to be more relevant. So we're gonna say fall 2026. So this particular one is talking about road resurfacing. So I can make the changes to my PDF that I want to make. I could make this assignment more relevant to my students. And then from there, I can actually go in and, whoops, I went too far. Sorry about that. I can go in and I could share that. So let me go back into that. It looks terrible, but I could share that with my students. Well, I can download it and then I can upload it and I can do all of that, or I could share it to my Google Drive. Now, if you haven't used that yet, you won't see it in your first set of tools. So you would have to go down and select Google Drive under the Save or See More. You can also save designs to your Google Classroom, which I think is amazing. There are other learning management systems that you can share to as well. But I am so excited that you can share that template design directly to your classrooms. So let's see. So you have those directions in the presentation for how to edit those designs and then how to share them with your students. So the next thing we want to talk about is annotating a PDF, because that is always something that we need to use as well. Again, the instructions are in here, but I'm going to skip on over to, I added my PDF. I had edited that original document and made it just what I wanted to use, one passage, one question. And then I can use my tools. So over here on your side menu, I can go to tools and I can annotate that PDF. So I could assign this to my students and give them a set of instructions and have them annotate their PDF. They can go in, they could use the draw tool. And for this one, it says underline keywords in question one. Well, question one isn't here anymore, so I would have to change those instructions. But if my keywords were, do not, or something like that, I could underline those keywords. I can use my highlight tool, which is still under my pen tools, and I could highlight a phrase that shows that Seth is confused or unsure. So I'm just going to highlight something. I can use my shapes tool. I could have students, put a shape over something. With that shape, they could also change the transparency. You could make them change the color of the shape. You can add sticky notes. So you could give them a whole set of instructions for things that you want them to do, and they could annotate those PDFs. All right, so I'm going to turn it over to Kay now with my quick demonstration of annotating a PDF within Canva. Kay, I'm trying to get to the stop presenting and my mouse is not wanting to go there. There it goes. So, all right.
All right. Well, let's see here. There we go. Okay, so I am going to be sharing some of my favorite features in Canva, and you've probably noticed in sessions that I've done before that I love using polls and quizzes. So the polls and quizzes feature, it is actually an element. So if you are following along or you want to open up a practice design in Canva, whether it's a presentation or whatever you want to play around with, you can click on elements and you can just in the search box for elements, and I'll show you here on the screen, I can do a search for polls and quizzes, and it will, oh no, where did my polls and quizzes go? Here they are. Okay, so you'll see a section down here that says polls and quizzes. So when you click see all, it's going to bring up the different options. So one main difference between the polls and the quizzes is that with the quizzes, you can select the correct answer, whereas with the polls, you can't. One thing to note, when you drop this into your presentation or whatever design, because you can drop a poll or a quiz in any design that you're working with, really, if students are following along, they're not going to be able to see the live results of in that poll until you choose a response yourself. So that's something to be aware of. Let's say you've set up a presentation, to teach your lesson for the day, or whatever sessions you might be leading. You can quickly clear out the poll results. So that makes it easy to use from one class or one group to the next. So that's something that I will show you how to do as well. So here, when you want to, let's say I drop in a poll, it's going to show up on your Canvas slide. When you click on the actual poll or quiz, then you get this menu up here. This is where you can easily edit your content. So when I click on edit, then I have the box pop up over here on the left. So I can type my question. I can list all of my different options. If I do the little 3-dot menu, you'll see that it gives me the option to move options around, duplicate options, whatever I need to do. I can easily delete those. And then also I can change color scheme if I want to. Up here with these dots, I can put a border around it. If I want, I can round the edges. So that's just a couple of different things for you to be aware of. But when you want to see responses here, if you click on responses, you'll be able to see just kind of an overview of what the responses are. And then you'll be able to see your responders and responses if they are also signed into Canva as well. If not, it's going to be much more anonymous. And so, thinking about quizzes, if even with that anonymous information, you can use those quizzes to kind of give you that snapshot view of how your students are doing. Are they getting it? Kind of help you do that tailoring of information that you want to share. So when we present, if you wanted to, you could, in your live link that we shared with you in the chat, you could click on an option to say, how much do you love Canva? And then you would be able to see those results populate. So just for time purposes, I'm going to, instead of us taking time to vote now, because I think we all love Canva, here are some Canva tips, 6 different ways to use polls and quizzes in your classroom. And again, this is not an end-all be-all list, but it's a great starting point just to kind of give you some ideas, inspiration for how you could use polls and quizzes in your lessons or sessions, whatever your role is. You probably work with some folks that could benefit from this and add that interaction and that engagement piece in what you're doing. Did anybody have any questions about the polls or quizzes, how they function?
We do have a couple of questions in the chat.
Mm-hmm. So let's see here.
So the first one said, is quizzes like Google Forms? And Arika answered that and said, not like forms. It's more like asking questions or taking a poll or vote of a group. So it's more of an interactive feature to keep your class engaged and to do a quick check, maybe. And then someone else asked, is it easy to share with Google Classroom?
So because the polls and forms are an element, you would add it to another design. So like, I wouldn't be able to like just click on that element and say I'm going to share just, the element. I have to add the element like anything else in Canva. I would add it to a design. But like Michelle shared with you before, I could easily share that design to Google Classroom. So if I put the poll in a presentation, I could share that to Google Classroom, if that makes sense.
How do quizzes and the polls differ?
So that was the thing that I mentioned. The main difference that you see between the two is that the quizzes, and I can show you real quick, the quizzes will let you put in a correct answer. So let's see here. I'm going to, all right. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to delete this, and when you click see all, you'll see that there's a lot of different types of questions. You can make it basic, yes or no. You can have answer choices. And again, like the way that you set this up, you could keep the quiz that you put on your slide or your presentation or your design. You could keep it more generic, and then what the information you provide to students in class could be more specific so that you could use it across multiple examples. So let's just say I'm going to go with the 2 steps. I'm going to drop it in. And then when I've clicked on it, so I have my edit bar up here, I'm going to click on edit. And so now I can type my question up here. But then here for quizzes, I can, well, it's not going to let me do it with this type. Let me choose a different type. Let me use this one instead of the. I can set an answer as a correct answer. So that way, whenever I do that, then I'm able to, there's one right answer, right? I'm checking for comprehension or understanding. That's the main difference. When you do a poll, you didn't have that option to set it as a correct answer. Does that help?
Yep, perfect. Thank you. I wanted them to know that difference. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Okay, so that's an easy way, like I said, to add that engagement to whatever it is that you are doing in class. And you can easily, let me show you real quick how you could clear out your responses. I'm going to just cast a few votes here. I'll say, okay. Now, when I come to my responses on this screen, if I click responses, it will show me this. When I come down to the very bottom where it says view responses, the 3 little dots, if I click that, I have the ability to view, analytics, detailed analytics. I can download the results of the poll as a CSV file, if I wanted to store that data or have that data later. But I can also reset all of my responses so that, again, it's queued up and ready to go for my next group. So that's one thing that I wanted to make sure you knew how to do as well. The next thing that I wanted to share with you are whiteboards. I think whiteboards are probably one of the most underutilized or underappreciated tools in Canva because there's just so much flexibility. So on your open home screen in Canva, when it's asking, what do you want to create? You have the option to create a whiteboard. I've linked in here a blank whiteboard that you can click on. It's collaborative. So if you want to click in there, this is where I am now. So anybody can dive in. And again, when you set up this whiteboard, you can come up to the share button. And initially, it's going to be restricted. So you can set it so anyone with the link can edit. And then I can link in this whiteboard to my presentation that I'm using with students or teachers or whoever I'm working with. So that way I don't have to give them editing rights to my presentation, but I can have a whiteboard space that easily linked in that they can get to, that they can interact with as well. The thing that's awesome about the whiteboard is that, it's an infinite amount of space, right? So it goes on and on and on. You can use this for, more like it's blank. Let's share some ideas here with the tools. And again, anything that you can insert or use in another Canva design, you can use in the whiteboard. So I can add sticky notes. So let's say we want to add sticky notes to share ideas. So add some sticky notes to share some ideas of anything that you've seen. Right now, I have the quick flow turned on. When I click these 3 dots, you see it says quick flow. That's what these little plus signs are. So it makes it really easy. I've started. Now anybody else can come and add, by clicking the plus button, add another sticky note. And it keeps it organized. Students don't have to worry about dragging things all around. So, they can add their sticky notes a little more easily. If you don't want that or you don't like that, you can disable the quick flow. I personally like it. But again, you can drop in a text box. The sticky notes you can type directly on the sticky note, but let's say I wanted to include some directions here for my students. So I can add directions. I can add an element. So I could drop my quiz right here. I can drop anything on this whiteboard space. The other thing that I really like about this is that, maybe I want to give my students a little bit more structure. If I click on design, there are a ton of whiteboard templates too. So some are, more suited to brainstorm. But then there's also ones that are really great for like creating a vision board, creating kind of like that scrum board, like here's the project that we're working on, here's the task that we need to do. We can move our task along to show the progress we're making. I could have flow charts. If I'm working on a timeline activity in my class, I could find one that looks more like a timeline. Let's see what that pulls up. And all of this will be completely editable. So you have a lot of options to add, structure and that more polished look to a whiteboard space, or you can keep it open and let students, kind of work from there. Another cool thing about this, let's say that students have added a ton of ideas on these sticky notes. If I kind of highlight all the sticky notes, then I get my little magic feature here. So when I click on that, I can generate a quiz from the things that are shared on these sticky notes. I can create a summary. So, if it has a lot of different ideas, I can use that summary to kind of pull all the big points together and help students kind of see that. So there's some cool features in there too. And it also makes it easy to link up with that AI voice feature that Canva has now as well. So, just a couple of different ideas. This would be a great thing to use with maybe one of the get into know me type templates for at the beginning of the year to let students kind of create their vision board for the year or tell a little bit about themselves. You could use this to work with students and have that collaborative, or teachers, like have that collaborative experience, like what expectations or rules do we want to kind of govern our space together, and let them share their ideas on sticky notes, and then you can use that AI feature to summarize or sort those ideas and come to an agreement together. So a lot of like beginning of the year uses, but daily uses too for this as well. Did anybody have any questions about the whiteboard? One thing that I will show you that's really cool too, let's say that I'm teaching and I have a concept up here. I can actually turn a slide in my presentation into a whiteboard space. So when I come down here at the bottom, if I right click on this, there's an option to expand it to a whiteboard. And now my slide has become a whiteboard. And now as a teacher, I have that flexibility to make notations around it, do examples, invite students up to the panel or teachers or whoever up to the panel to, add sticky notes. This could be, the whiteboard space could also be a great tool to bring in those PDFs for annotating, like Michelle mentioned too. So a lot of different options to use. And right now I'm just going to click undo so I can get rid of that whiteboard space there. Here are, again, some Canva tips from their design school on different ways to use whiteboards that you could work with. So the sticky notes, just like creating the collaborative environment for students to work together. The last thing that I wanted to share that I kind of added in is I just really love the record feature in Canva. And I've shown you where that is. If you go to uploads, you'll see that you have the option to record yourself. So this just opens the door for a lot of really cool possibilities. You can record your own voice to read directions, have a response, whatever you want to do, kind of makes it more personal than maybe just using the AI voice generator. But students can also record. That helps them practice and grow those speaking skills. Students, who speak another language could, speak in their native language to share their perspective, their culture, their background, but they can also use it to, practice speaking the English languages or growing their English skills too. So a lot of really cool things with the record feature. And I've included here a link to Canva's Design School cheat sheet on how students can even create a podcast in Canva, which is something that I have found really cool too. Here's just an example from their design school of an activity that you could use with students to let them practice. So it walks them through directions. So that's just to give you an idea of like, what could this look like in the classroom too? So many different possibilities. And that's all I have. Did anybody have any questions before I turn this over to our other friends? I'm trying to catch up in the chat over here.
So Arik shared a link to how some Canva whiteboards can help. And then Paula asked about converting Google Slides to Canva to be able to add the polls and quizzes. And Arik has given her the information for how to do that. So there are links in the chat that you guys are welcome to check out. So, Dave, I think it's on to you now.
Okay, I'm going to keep this not in presentation mode in order to demonstrate the tool right on our presentation. That way I don't have to bounce around tabs. But what I'm about to share right now is not necessarily the most exciting tool, but it's an important tool. And it's the accessibility checker. And why that becomes important is a little over a year ago, there was a law WCAG 2.1, something like that. And it said that any government agency, which includes schools, anything that's posted has to meet accessibility requirements. They said large districts have to have it done by April of this year, smaller districts, April of next year. I thought because in North Carolina we're 7th biggest, we would certainly be biggest, but it's serving 50,000 or over. We have 37,778 students, and therefore we actually have a little bit longer, but it's still best practice. And so, tools and things that you buy products have to meet that requirement, but it still applies to any time as teachers, as school employees. If we post something from our office, it's going to have to meet accessibility requirements. So it's just one more thing you have to keep track of. It's just like, oh my gosh, am I breaking a rule just by creating a document and posting it? It's something that's been on my mind for a long time. I don't want people to have to worry about that. Well, lo and behold, with all of the things, and I'm going to say we only touched on a handful of Canva features. Some of the stuff I use it for regularly, we're not even talking about today, but Canva to the rescue. So on this next slide, up here on File, when you click it, it'll pop out accessibility. And then when you do that, you'll be able to do the check design accessibility. And so this particular graphic here is for some reason now not showing up, but it's okay. We'll see it in a minute. When I click File, I can go right down to Accessibility, and anything that's in Canva, I'll be able to check. So obviously that's going to be checking something you build in Canva, but as we just kind of were just talking about in the chat, you can upload your Google Docs, Google Slides if you're worried about it and saying, oh, I've used these for years rather than going to meet accessibility requirements, put it in Canva, and well, you could download after. You can add all of the Canva tools and interactivity, flip over to a whiteboard, polls and quizzes in there. So once I upload them, I just leave them and add that. So if you hit accessibility, you can hit check design accessibility, and it'll go through and it'll find where it wouldn't have met guidelines. And it's taking a moment here, but never really taken that long for me. There we go. Typography, there's 4 issues, so we can click on it, and what it will say is, hey, these need to be 12 point to meet guidelines. So if we use something smaller than that, it wouldn't meet the guidelines. Oops, instead of clicking X, hopefully it'll pop up. I just want to go over the other couple. What will tend to happen quite frequently is it'll have issues with the images. Color contrast, that's one of the things that we'll have to be aware of within the next 2 years. People want to check things so that they don't have issue. But the alternative text, this has 227 issues, but it's not as big a deal as you think. Well, the rules about the alternative text is for screen readers and for situations like that, if it's got information that is content, you need to put alternative text there. However, if it's just a decorative image, it's not required. So you'll often get a lot of issues with alternative text that you won't need to spend a lot of time there. But typography, it's really easy to say, oops, I got to make that bigger. Maybe I need to break it into 2 slides because I need to fit it all on there and have bigger type and color contrast. So while not necessarily as fun, it is going to be an amazingly useful tool as we move forward into the era of having to be aware of accessibility. And it's something that we should be aware of all the time. And we have it's honestly the only program that I know that has a tool like this. Canva is. There might be more, but I'm not aware of them. I have found online checkers, but they check websites. They haven't really checked all of my designs, and so it's something that's really nice for us to have. So moving on.
So in the chat, someone had asked for something more basic or for beginners. And what I would say is you're going to get these resources as well that we shared today, but in Canva Design School, that is where I would start. And that is linked in this resource as well. We only have about 2 minutes left. So I want to be mindful of your time and quickly share the things we have left, but I'm also going to add the feedback link in the chat. Please be sure you complete that feedback. That's how we decide what we're going to add for upcoming events as well. And that is also how I send out your certificates and mark your attendance in Kickup. I am automatically doing that. So Dave, I'm going to turn it back over to you for the last minute.
Yep.
To go over.
I'll go real fast and let them see something. But I will say, put that in the feedback if you want. If a lot of people want beginners, I am in the process of scheduling people for our September 26th virtual conference, and I can try to schedule a beginner session of Canva for that day, if that would be helpful. I'm going to move past this, just know it's there. There's a lot of really helpful tips about presentations here. Some you might know, some you might not, but if any topic you see there, click on Design School. And these are keyboard shortcuts that are fun to have. But I just wanted to share something really exciting. Arik gave us these cards at ISTE. There's a scan, there's the link. Last time I gave this to somebody, they got put on the wait list, so I don't know if it's opened back up. But if once you're off, Canva is about to, it's in beta, but it's going to drop sometime this year, possibly in Droptober, most likely, but who knows? Canva can give us surprises. It is going to instantly make lessons for you. The way you do that is you go to Canva AI and you can click create student activities. And I'm going to go really fast. An activity about trade routes. And I'll say 7th grade, subject social studies. And what it will do is learning purpose, and I can choose from blooms. Understand, apply, analyze, evaluate, create. So I'll say
You're
analyze.
not sharing that tab.
Of course I'm not. I thought I hit window. Let me go ahead and present something else. Boom. Okay, so right here, I'll just do this real quick. If you go to your home, it's going to look like this. And it'll usually says your designs. You just slide over here to Canva AI. Now, it's not going to be there for you yet unless you go back to that link or the QR code and get into the beta to test it. And every single design, they're going to ask for feedback. They want to make this the best for you. Every time I've tried one, they have said, hey, feedback, what do you think of this lesson? So create student activities. This is going to instantly make activities. And I just want to show you one really quick. Social studies, 7th grade social studies, I'll say trade routes. And learning purpose, I can choose from blooms. I'll say analyze. And then I'll hit generate. This is amazing. A lot of times you find AI lesson generators, they give you a list of things you should do, but not the actual thing you need to use with students. Canva gives you 3 options compared to major trade routes. And that'll be, here is a close reading, and here's a guided research. I did the same generated before, and it worked. It gave me 3 different types of activities. Sometimes it gives you whiteboard activities, sometimes it gives you document activities. And I can say, I want you to generate both of these so I can see which one I like better, and it can generate them. And then you can edit them. It gives you teacher notes, and then it says to delete it. And then you can instantly share them to students within Canva. So that is coming. But if you'd like in on the beta, check the link in the presentation. And they're putting people on a wait list and letting them off little by little. With that, I will sort of just continue back.
Will you go back to the
Yep.
presentation?
Bouncing right over to Yes We Canva. But that's where I left off this slide, this link. But hey, the learning never ends.
So I've added in there how you can find that Canva Design School, and even how you can make it directly for teachers. If you're looking for information directly for teachers, we highly recommend all teachers doing the teacher essentials. But if you're not a teacher and you want to learn the essentials, there is also a Canva essentials as well. If you'll go to the next slide, Dave. We have some upcoming events as well. So these flyers you can download, they're in the presentation. We will be offering Tech Tuesdays, which will be the second Tuesday of each month. and it'll be focused around the North Carolina digital learning competencies. And then we're also doing a Falling in Love with Digital Learning Day, which is September 26th. So that's where your feedback is important too, because that'll help us in those digital learning events that we're working on. We have also included, you can go to the next slide. A friend of ours in Harnett County has created this Canva digital dashboard, and it gives you a lot of great ideas for using Canva with your students. So just another resource for you as well. So be sure you fill out that feedback form, and thank you guys so much for joining us this summer. I know a lot of you, it has been your summer vacation and you have chosen to spend time with us, and we cannot thank you enough. So we hope that you will come back to some of our future events. And thank you, Dave and Kay. Do either of you have anything else you want to add before we leave?
Just hope to see you at digital learning conferences later this year and the other things. And we are always available to meet or come out to your school.
Ditto.
All right. Thank you all so much. Sorry that we kept you over. We could have kept you a lot longer if we had the time.
Those asking about attendance codes, if you're JCPS folks, will automatically enter your attendance for that today. So yay.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you guys. All right. Eileen, you have a question? I think I said that right. You feel free to unmute and ask if you would like.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, because I'm in the middle of volleyball practice. I work for Parks and Rec, so the options that y'all were showing on your screen, I don't have all of those. And I'm thinking that it might be because I'm an IA instead of an actual certified teacher, that I don't have all the options that were on the left side of the screen.
Okay.
Like elements, I don't have that.
You okay, did you go in through ClassLink?
Yes.
Okay, you should still have those as well. So if you don't mind, shoot me an email and just I'm gonna write your name down too, but I'm gonna check on that for you.
Elements is a core feature of even the free version. It just changes on context. So if you're in a certain window of doing things, it might not be there. So like if you open a new design, it should be there, or you can scroll down, but you can always go to the thing to type in elements and it'll pop up.
But where would you find the elements? Because I don't even see elements on the side of my screen.
Let's
Yeah, it's not there by nature. It's when you open like a presentation or a thing to work on.
is this what you see on your can you stop sharing?
Yep.
Dave? Okay. I'm gonna present now my window. Share. Okay. Is this what you see as like home classwork projects templates?
I have here, I'll read what I have on my screen.
Okay.
It'll be easier. Move this box. So mine says create home projects,
Okay.
templates, brand, the little
So
map.
that is why. So you could go into, let's say you go to home and click on home. And then when you go in and you click on presentation, for a new presentation to pop up, then you're going to get those tools, design, elements, text. So it changes that toolbar based on where you are in Canva. So you have to have something open that you're working with
Okay.
for it to give you those elements. Yeah.
Okay. I haven't done much with Canva, and I was, like, so I'm obtaining my elementary ed degree, and I just wanted to know ahead of time of like how to use stuff and stuff.
Yeah, so I highly suggest to go back to your home. Oops, I just clicked out. Go back in where the design school is and do those essentials courses.
Okay.
Especially like the teacher essentials is a really good one to get you started, because it can be overwhelming in the beginning for sure.
Okay, thank you. I had to go back on mute. They're like bouncing balls, so I didn't want
No, no problem. And feel free, any of us are welcome. I mean, we will work with you one-on-one if you need us. So,
to. Okay, thank you.
uh-huh. All right. I'm going to end the call if there aren't any other questions. All right.